like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.
Alright, here we are, folks.
Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain.
Welcome back once again. This is Chris Report, and he assured me that St. Simon's down in Boulders. Folks, this is Chris Wyatt reporting from South Africa. And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen. It is. Oh, let's get the clock fixed. Take this down. Sorry, that's been up there for a bit. That's how long it's been since we've done a live broadcast here. There we go. How's that? There we go. Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. It is Monday, April 15th, 2024. If you're an American, today is tax day. Make sure you get your federal and state, if you have state taxes, filed today, or they'll come looking for you. Big brother will be looking for you. Yes, I see danger in your eyes, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program. For some reason, my camera keeps focusing. I guess I'm confusing it, moving around. Welcome back. Goodness gracious, it's good to see you there. A little bit of a tearjerker there for me, listening to Giselle's Zuid-Afrika. Of course, for those who don't speak Afrikaans, that is South Africa. Yes, my mooiste land. That's my most beautiful home, my beautiful country. Beautiful stuff there. Let's say hello to everybody in the chat. We'll get started here. Today, we're going to focus not so much on the news, but on the African National Congress. But before that, I need to take a brief pause because unlike the African National Congress, I want the real thing. That's right, folks, the real thing. Of course, we all know that Coca-Cola is the real thing. The African National Congress, nothing but a bunch of frauds, but this is the real thing. Once upon a time, made with cocaine, but not today. Thank goodness. Welcome back to the program. Let me say hello to everybody. Then I want to show you a gift there, not a gift, but something that was given to me last week. Somebody may be curious about what the shirt says. Let me stand for the shirt very quickly. I stand for the flag and I kneel for the cross. Oh, there you go. So I'm sure that'll offend somebody, but if it does, that's your problem, not mine. Nothing wrong with this statement. It's funny because this morning I considered for a moment whether I should wear it because it's somehow become a political statement when it should simply just be, faith, family, flag, a statement of the day. But let's say hello. Christine Feinemev is here. Welcome. Spot on. What's spot on? What did I miss? What did I miss? 9 o'clock. Oh, we're talking about the ANC. Christine was here a long time ago. And then we've got Dylan Combrick, Myra Page, Vilma Erasmus, Sean Manich is back. Hey, Sean, how's your parents? Vanu de Jaga died in prison. He was awaiting trial for the murder of his wife, the pastor. Ulrich Fenter's here. Alan Kotza, loading Monday. Christine Ehlers. Hey, Christine, how are you? Keith Alderson in from Coventry. And welcome back. Who else we got here? Eric is here. Welcome, Erica. Hope you're doing well. Louding Monday. I already said Ashley Engelbrick. Check out the documentary, The Fall of Minneapolis. I've heard about that, Christine. Marilyn Brokenshaw, always a pleasure, Marilyn. Hester Kotzen, likewise. Gerrit is Grüße and Grüt an alle Mens. Oh, he switched from English, from German to Afrikaans mid-sentence. Thank you, Gerrit. Who else we got here? George Steinberg is in from Heckport. Once again, good to see you there. Hi, Jigs. Welcome to you. And then Jan Filion is here. I may have missed anybody. I apologize for that. Pip Jacobs. And who else we got there? Marilyn likes the shirt. Graham is in. Hey, welcome to you as well. ZCM, hello. Zelda from Scotland. Scotland! You can take our freedom, but you can never take, we can take our lives, we can never take our freedom. There you go. Sorry, got that one all messed up. Welcome back, folks. First, I want to show you this. So for the past 2 weeks, my normal lunchtime broadcast from the studio has not been occurring because I've been at the Army War College providing consultant services for a program called the CJFLIC, Combined Joint Forces Land Component Commander, which is a course for general officers to help them learn about what happens when you get thrown in the deep end and you're responsible for an operations somewhere around the world. So that was earlier the past 2 weeks. It kept me busy. It's one of the ways I put a little coin in my pocket. But speaking of coins, when I was a young soldier in the 1980s, commanders in battalion and above started doing something. They gave commanders coins out to people. And at that time, commanders coins were awarded for excellence. So for instance, if you went on an exercise and what you did was exceptional, but they didn't feel it was warranted an actual decoration that goes on your uniform, like an Army Achievement Medal or Army Commendation Medal, the commander had the discretion to give you unit commander coins. And I have several of them from when I was a private, a specialist, that were awarded for excellence in the field. And they're nice. I have them. But the thing is that at some point shortly after that, by the late 80s, they became kind of a cool thing for commanders to do, to just hand them out. And people hand them out. I did receive one for excellence last Friday from the commander. Get this, ladies and gentlemen, from the commander. Is Lori Letton in here? Lori, are you here? Our Finnish viewer. Lori, if you're here, it'd be great to see you pop in the conversation. This coin, something I never in a million years thought I'd ever get. Look, for those who know a little bit about me, you know I have a very strong affinity with Estonia and with Finland, of course, among other places, but a very strong affinity, obviously, for South Africa, you know that. But for Finland and Estonia, it goes back a long time as a historian. Their valiant fight against the Soviet aggression, what happened to the Baltic states in 1939 when the Germans sold them down the river, the removal of ethnic Germans from the Baltic states, the Balkan Germans, the Baltendeutsche, and removed back to Germany or Poland. What was Poland became Germany. And of course, for the Finns, who fought heroically in the Winter War of 1939, shellacking the Red Army, a leaderless Red Army that was just wallowing in misery because they had assassinated most of the leaders of the military in the grade of lieutenant colonel and above, certainly from colonel and above. But strong affinity. I know the history of the Winter War, the continuation war. I've been to Finland several times. Amazing country. I love it. I watch Finnish shows, including my favorite show, which is based in Lappeenranta on the border. But I received a coin, ladies and gentlemen, from the commander of the Finnish army. How cool is that? This coin was given to me by commander of the Finnish army. That's not going to focus. Sorry. There you go. Right there. Wow. Super, super cool. This was for excellence in the work I did in project, or the exercise we're involved in there. On the backside, they got soldiers and a tank and artillery. Wow. This says from the commander of the Finnish army. Yeah, no, it says right here. It says in English, commander of the Finnish army. And then in Finnish, it says, well, I'll butcher this. If Lori Lettonen's here, I will butcher this. Vomian kommentaja. Yeah, so that is from the commander of the Finnish army. That was super cool. I'll cherish that. That's a really cool thing to get. So anyway, so if Lori Lettonen pops in the conversation later on, if someone would point out to him or tell me that Lori's here so I can show him the coin, because that's kind of cool. I do like these coins, but I never really get all excited about some of them. But I'm definitely excited about this one from the commander of the Finnish army. Wow. All right, back to this. Then we're going to talk about the ANC, and hopefully we'll draw a big audience for that. We're going to talk about how they're whistling past the cemetery. Completely clueless in just how badly they're going to be shellacked. Or they're just praying. Documentary, yes, the George Floyd case. Turning away, welcome to you. And Marilyn, congratulations. All right, folks, let's get to it. So we've got a lot to talk about here. The African National Congress is whistling past the cemetery. Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC are completely delusional about their prospects in the May 29 election in South Africa. Not only are they going to lose their majority, but they are going to be handed a shellacking. They're going to be absolutely slaughtered at the polls, particularly in KwaZulu-Natal, in the Western Cape, and probably even in Gauteng province in the High Veld of South Africa. Now the question is, do they lose support in their historical strongholds of the Eastern Cape, Mpumalanga, Northern Cape, Northwestern, and of course the Free State? We shall see. And now, this message brought to you not by Coca-Cola, but by the real thing, which is me. Unlike the African National Congress, we are genuine, as is Coca-Cola. But the ANC is absolutely backcrap crazy, and this election is getting attention around the world. Crime, corruption, rape, murder, farm murders. No electricity, load shedding, no water, water shedding, nothing. South Africans have got nothing to show for 30 years of ANC misrule and theft, except the enrichment of a handful of selected friends and family. That's right, the ANC caters get the friends and family discount, and they get their fingers on the tenders. Not the chicken tenders that you and I like, but the fingers on the tenders. That's right. Hey, ANC, it's not tenders, it's chicken tenders. That's right. You should be eating chicken tenders and not getting your fingers on the government tenders. Boer Cola. RJ, I drink Boer Cola, but it's not available in America. It's only when I'm in South Africa. Yep. Megyn Kelly. What about Megyn Kelly? At least no load shedding until elections. Yes, that's right. They're trying to buy votes by burning through their diesel budget and exhausting their generators, which will all collapse, and load shedding will be ever present after May 29th. But the ANC doesn't care because it's all about buying votes of the low information voters who simply will be bought for a t-shirt and a KFC 3-piece Streetwise. But you know what? It ain't going to work this time, folks. It ain't going to work. The African National Congress is in deep kimchi. For those who don't know, kimchi is a Korean dish. It stinks to high heaven. Koreans love it. It's rotten cabbage. Kimchi. And they are in deep kimchi here, folks. All right, let's get to the news reports. A couple of news things, just one or two I'm going to talk about before we discuss this issue with the ANC and how they're whistling past the cemetery. Massive storm in KZN and Margate, flooding out of control. Man, at least 5 people have passed away and infrastructure is heavily damaged. 5 people died in a storm that lashed Margate on the KZN South Coast on Sunday night. This is confirmed by the Ugu District Municipality, which said search and rescue teams have been deployed. Heavy damage caused by to water and road infrastructure, and an on-site assessment of the damages was underway as of Monday morning. But it's a bad mojo, folks. This flooding has been really crazy. Huge damage caused to both water and road infrastructure. The municipality spokesperson France Zama said a coordinated cleanup operation is progress while the cost of the damage is being consolidated. Just crazy, folks. Just crazy. Ace Magashule of the asbestos trial, the 254 million rand asbestos contract that went sideways years ago. Ace Magashule, the disgraced former Secretary General of the African National Congress, finds his court case postponed till after the election. Isn't that convenient? Once again, no justice for South Africans as Ace Magashule skirts again. Former ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule and his co-accused face charges of fraud, corruption, money laundering, and contravention of Public Finance Management Act. And they face charges from the public of being just irreputable scumbags. That's what people are saying. The Bloemfontein High Court postponed the 255, I misspoke, it's 255 million rand. I thought it was 254. I think they rounded up. Asbestos corruption trial involving former Secretary General Ace Magashule to June 14th, a full 2 weeks after the election. Free State National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson Mohafela Senokoatseane told the SABC at court after the postponement that the National Prosecuting Authority is ready. We can confirm the trial is meant to start today. As the prosecution, we have indicated previously, we are ready. We will be ready when the defense is ready to proceed with the trial. So after years, he's still not ready for the trial. Wow, what is taking so long? This is a trial that goes back a long time ago, folks, like all the ANC corruption trials. Now, this is a bizarre thing. Today, I went to the Daily Maverick newspaper website to check on a story, and they have shut down. The Daily Maverick is closed, folks. It's closed. Closed for business. The Daily Maverick, an upstart media publication in South Africa that from its very beginnings was independent and did some great journalism like the Abu Bugani, whatever, their investigative report. They are shut down. Not permanently, but for the day as they beg for money, ladies and gentlemen. Daily Maverick is begging for money. The Daily Maverick is shut down for today, April 15th. Without journalism, our democracy and economy will break down. Journalism helps save South Africa. Now we need your help. You can support. And if you want to donate money to the Daily Maverick, you can. Monthly, they're taking donations, 75 Rand, 150, 200. You pick. Or annually, folks. You can do annually for up to 2,000 Rand per year. Shut down for today to raise awareness. Oh, we have a new subscriber. Thank you to that Farrell Brink Farrell. Thank you very much. So they've shut down for the day. I agree, scientists, nothing will happen to Ace Magashule. So that's the brief amount of news that I wanted to talk about. Now, what's going on in South Africa? Why would the ANC possibly be in trouble? I mean, after all, the ANC is the party of liberation. Didn't they free South Africans from the yoke, the evil yoke of apartheid? It was the ANC and the ANC alone who freed the masses. Except that's simply a lie. The following is a lie. The ANC liberated South Africa. That was a lie. The preceding statement was a lie. No, the ANC did not free South Africa. In fact, if anything, the ANC nearly caused massive carnage, chaos, and confusion with their civil war and their necklacing campaign assassinating Nkata members back in the early 1980s and late 1980s, early 1990s. The ANC is a thoroughly disgusting and reprehensible organization that has masked itself as a party of liberation for decades when it's the typical African liberation movement, a party of pilferage, thieving, kleptocracy, and misery, subjecting tens of millions of black South Africans to abject poverty under their kleptocracy for the past 30 years. Yes, they did some good things early on, but it didn't take long before the hungry, rapacious thieves got their fingers into the pot and began enjoying the high life in Margate, in Sandton. That's right, in Rondebosch, with their lovely apartments and beautiful blue light escorts. Yes, that's the ANC. So what's going on in South Africa? Well, ladies and gentlemen, South Africa, amongst all the countries polled by Ipsos, this is a international polling organization, is one of the least happy countries in the world, even beating out the United States, where we're pretty angry right now. Patrick says, don't forget the IFP, how the PAC and Zappa were also squashed by them for history. Yeah, exactly. No, I'm going to talk about the Patrick. Let me finish it before I go on to the poll. Yes, Helen Suzman, the Black Sash movement, Steve Biko and Black Consciousness, the Liberal Party, such as it was, and many, many others contributed to the liberation of South Africa. But ultimately, South Africa got multi-race elections, not because of all that movement, not because of pressure on the apartheid government of the National Party, but why? Because communism collapsed. And the National Party could no longer convince white South Africans that only they could protect them from the evil of the Rui Geva, the Red Menace. Only they could. There was no longer a Red Menace, but it never went away. It never went away. But the collapse of the Soviet Union meant the gig was up. The jig was up. It was time to move on. So, is your country headed in the right direction or is it headed in the wrong direction? Ipsos recent polling, the United States doesn't do particularly well, but South Africa is atrocious. Ladies and gentlemen, the United States comes in on this poll. The United States at 67% of Americans say that we're on the wrong track. This is a poll of 25,750 adults. That's a pretty big one in 29 participating countries. Age 16 to 74. Well, an adult is not 16, but anyway, we'll accept that. Only Argentina and Peru do worse, and Hungary do worse than South Africa. Hungary is tied with South Africa. 83% of the country says they're on the wrong track. Wow. Where just 62% of people around the world say that. Singapore, 85% of the people say the country's on the right track. Indonesia, 79%. Brazil, where things are crazy, 60% think it's doing well. Australians are confused. 50% say well, 50% say bad. Well, that's the problem. 83% of South Africans say we're on the wrong path. Here is the share of the African National Congress historically over the past several elections. Take a look at these numbers. This number here will be historically low in this election. So in 1994, they garnered 62% when the National Party was still pretty strong, garnering almost all the white vote, so-called white vote, colored vote, and a number of black Africans as well. And then in 1999, after they consumed the National Party, after it became the new National Party, they did even better. And they reached a peak in 2004 in Thabo Mbeki's time frame with nearly 70% of the vote. But it's been all downhill since then, 65.9% in 2009, 62% in 2014, and 57.5% in 2019. Ladies and gentlemen, in November of 2021, as the polls were still warm in the municipal elections, I predicted, without knowing that load shedding was going to get out of control, without knowing about the advent of the MK party, that regardless of the circumstances, South Africa was on a downward trajectory, and there is no way that the ANC would get a majority in 2024, and they were likely to get no better than 38 to 42%. And boy, I feel like Senior van Rensburg. I am telling you, folks, I feel like Senior van Rensburg because, God, this camera just keeps focusing. What is going on? Because the ANC is currently polling at 37%. I had hoped they would go as low as 33%, which would really shake things up. The lower they go, the better chances for South Africa. right now. They are in trouble, absolutely in trouble. Yes, Christine, a lot of Jews, a lot of liberal whites fought for the ANC. But you can look no further than their former head of intelligence. 26 likes. Yeah, Graham, we can do that better than that. So let's get back to the next one. So what's the issue here? Well, we've talked about corruption. We've talked about theft. We've talked about service delivery failure. We've talked about infrastructure collapse. We've talked about state-owned enterprises. We haven't really focused on the dependency factor. The ANC has been successful at turning South Africans into dependent wards of the state, with free grants for university, free this, free that, SASA grants, which barely feed anybody. But here's the real issue. No electricity and now no water. Water shortages in Polokwane could become a significant issue during elections as the city faces a water shutdown. Wow, that's just crazy. This week they have water shutdown. Temporary shutdown of the Ebenezer Water Scheme, which is due to begin today or tomorrow, is for its rehabilitation. Gracious Mello, resident of Bendor, Polokwane suburb, said, "We love the ANC. Come hell or high water, we're going to vote for it. But what about those that are not members of the ANC? How do you convince them to cast their vote for the ANC? They don't have water for days." Why in the world would you vote for the ANC when you have no water? Are you a moron? Are you that frickin' stupid? It reminds me of certain people in my political race. Well, I'm going to vote for them because I went to high school with them. So what? Who cares who went to high school with somebody? Well, I'm going to vote for them because my kid was one of their students. So what? You vote for the best candidate. You don't vote for people because of affinity. That's how you get crap government. You want to know why there's no water in Polokwane and why the Highlands water project is being shut down? It's because of the malfeasance of the African National Congress. And you deserve the misery that you bring upon yourself if you vote for a party that is nothing but a rapacious collection of race-hustling thieves. It's on you, not on me. And here in Pennsylvania, if you vote for someone because you think they're better looking, or they're not as good looking, or you went to high school with them, or they're just nice guy or nice gal, then you are to blame when that person goes into government and we have crap governance. Vote for the best candidate, the most qualified, the most experienced, the most successful, the most passionate. And that's an easy. In my race, that's me. Case closed, hands down. So it gets worse for South Africa in the water, folks. Massive 6-month shutdown. Wow. Thank you, ANC. 6-month shutdown in the critical water supply, which comes from the Highlands Water Project. The main water supply to South Africa's economic hub in Greater Johannesburg and to the country's breadbasket, the Free State, will be shut off for 6 months. Maintenance work on a 37-kilometer Lesotho Highlands Water Project tunnel is due to begin in October, after the elections. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? A senior researcher at the Water and Production Economics Research Unit at the University of Cape Town takes a critical look at who could be affected. Well, it's a large-scale water project designed to transfer 1.27 billion cubic meters of water every year from Lesotho to South Africa. Wow. To visualize how much water that is, imagine 508,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools. That's how much water that project brings to Gauteng every year. That project was launched in 1998, initiated by the National Party, and the first stage is completed by the ANC. But the ANC, of course, moved away from completing the other two projects. There were supposed to be 3 Highlands water projects, and they decided not to continue on. As a consequence, people in Gauteng do not have water because the idiots in the ANC have no long-term vision. They're not strategic thinkers or leaders. They're simply rapacious thieves. Yeah, I'm sure there's a few good people in the ANC, but I don't know who they are. I can't identify them. Wow. So this one project supplies 60% of the water consumed in Gauteng. And it also supplies irrigation for commercial farms, water to regions with irregular rainfall patterns and frequent drought, and plays a role in public health by delivering clean water to millions of people. It also helps environmental conservation. And here is a little map of the project. So the transfer tunnels are located up there in Lesotho. Yep. And then it comes down into South Africa, but they're not showing the whole tunnel. It goes north from Lesotho. And I've actually been there. Paul took me out there. We saw the project. I've got images of it, of all the water coming from the Highlands Water Project down from the Drakensberg into the Free State and headed north. The African way is to fix something when it breaks, and maybe they just buy something new. If you have water and it's brown, that's bad mojo. We must defend the Independent Electoral Commission's independence, or so says Cyril Ramaphosa. Well, the IEC should be independent. It's in its name, independent. But it's not independent. We know for a fact, we have proven without a shadow of a doubt, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the Independent Electoral Commission is either incompetent or in cahoots with the major parties. And I know this because the Forum for Democrats was blown off, dismissed, sent away, foot-sec, when they had a legitimate complaint about the 2020 municipal elections, which they were denied a seat, which they won under the proportional representation distribution. Someone in Zeerust recorded 197 votes for the EFF in a ward in which they got just 19 votes. And when independent electoral observer Michael Atkins told them about it, they told him to get stuffed. When the party itself, the Forum for Democrats, a small local party, a Tswana-based party in Zeerust, in Northwest Province, when they approached the IEC less than 2 weeks after the election, they were told, foot-sec, piss off, get out of here. Because they're nobodies. They're just the people. Only the big political parties with the clout and the money get attention from the IEC. So we know that the IEC is not entirely independent. However, by and large it is. But Cyril says we have to defend that independence. Yeah. President Ramaphosa believes there's nothing sinister about the Electoral Commission of South Africa approaching the Constitutional Court to appeal against the Electoral Court's decision to give Jacob Zuma, a felon, the opportunity to run for office. Yeah. Well, the Electoral Court was wrong. It's in violation of the Constitution in 2 different clauses of the South African Constitution, and it must be overturned. Hey, welcome to the 106 people who are currently here. Thank you for tuning in. If you're new to the channel, be sure to become a subscriber.
That was easy.
Well, it's so easy. There's a little button right below the video. Just go become a subscriber. Thank you so much. By the way, if you haven't hit the like button and you're not liking the content,
That was easy.
just hit the button, man. Piece of cake, piece of cake. Right. So, we won't vote. ANC voters threatening to stay at home like they did in KwaZulu-Natal during the municipal elections of 2021 following the internal ANC riot that occurred in July of 2021, which nearly brought the country to total collapse, at least in KZN in Gauteng. But we will simply not vote. That's what they're threatening, rather than vote for the opposition. Zandspruit residents tell the ANC we're not going to vote after Ramaphosa goes door to door in his pudgy outfit with his bizarre biker gang colors. As the country's gearing up for the national elections, the residents of Zandspruit, informal settlement in the north of Joburg, said that they were not buying into the ANC promises. Good for them. Residents expressed their concerns to IOL, stating that they were grappling with water shortages, frequent power outages, living in shacks, and lack of adequate sanitation and electricity. A concerned resident who preferred to remain anonymous said that they've been there for over a decade and they've seen no development and they feel neglected. I won't vote because I don't see any progress or development happening. I can't continue voting while leaders repeatedly fail to deliver on their promises. Well, perhaps your problem, young man, is that you're voting for idiots. Vote for a different party and at least give them a chance. Staying home is not the solution. But I'll tell you what, if you can't be compelled to vote for someone other than the ANC, then stay home. Stay home. Don't vote. I usually don't encourage people not to vote, but I'm encouraging you, if you're an ANC voter, don't vote. If you can't bring yourself to vote for a real political party, then just don't vote. It has almost the same effect. And that's what's happening. Ramaphosa's door-to-door campaign is failing badly in Zandspruit. Yep. In the run-up-to elections, Ramaphosa began his campaign with a door-to-door visit in Cosmo City, north of Joburg. During the visit, he interacted with residents, listening to their concerns and aspirations. I've been told that Zandspruit is the home of the ANC since 1994, and the ANC has been prepared to work for the people and bring development in communities and change their lives. Excuse me? Excuse me? The ANC is changing the lives of people in Cosmo City? Really? What have you taken it from? First off, you didn't end apartheid, ANC. The National Party ended apartheid voluntarily. There was not a single piece of race-based legislation in effect when the National Party held elections on April 29th. I've got to take this phone call, folks. Just a moment. Well, that was someone offering to help with my campaign. Very kind of them. Wow. But it's almost too late to help me. The stuff I needed was already stuff from before. I needed help out before. But yeah, Farrell says, I'll be using this profile. Well, okay. Well, cool beans. It sounds like somebody that changed their profile. Yeah. So the ANC helping people in Cosmos City. Really? What have they done? No water, no electricity, crime out of control, kleptocracy, failing infrastructure, collapsing infrastructure, informal settlements, far more informal settlements today than there ever were before. Millions of South Africans live in shacks and ramshackle communities as a consequence of ANC malfeasance. And don't tell me there isn't enough money. Really? How did Cyril Ramaphosa become worth $400 million US dollars? How did Tokyo Sexuality build $1 billion empire? How in the world did all these connected black folks in the ANC become rich while everyone else lives in poverty? When people have no paved roads. I've been out to these communities. Unlike these ANC politicians, I've been there. I've walked these settlements. I have been on the ground. And oh, by the way, you might not have noticed, I'm a little bit pale. I'm sort of pink. Kind of makes me a white boy. But I've walked these informal settlements. Soshanguve, north of Pretoria. Alexandria in Johannesburg. Khayelitsha in the Cape Flats. Been there, done that. Mitchell's Plain, been there, done that. Chatsworth, where are the ANC? Grasshopper, subscribe. You already subscribed, weren't you, Grasshopper? Thank you for that. Really? Where are these politicians? Where are they? Where are the ANC? They're not there. They're scumbags. They don't care. They are simply fools who suck on the teat of others. That's what they are. That's what they are. CocaCola, the real thing. Thought I'd try something different rather than the Starbucks. I already had 2 of them this morning. Folks, it's been a busy day for me. We'll get back to the ANC story in just a moment. But I mean, already this morning, I've been up working on my campaign, went to physical therapy, got issued a new ID card. That's kind of cool. I needed this one because my Army ID card can't be used for what I need. So I got a new one, man. Got a new one there. New ID card. So that's kind of cool. One with me, the beard in. Took care of that. Went to the provider, paid for the postage for my final mailer for the campaign. Came back, met with someone who's going to work the polls for me. Spent about an hour with that person. Came back here and got ready. Anyway, let's get back to the story. The ANC, give me a break. So Semaphore says a new South African poll highlights Zuma's significant impact. And that is the question. Is Jacob Zuma in Mkhonto the spoiler? Well, in KZN they are, that's for sure. South Africa's ruling African National Congress may see a sharp drop in support. No, they will. The survey by the Social Research Foundation think tank provides a snapshot of voter preferences ahead of the elections. Shows the ANC at 37%. MK is the third most popular party with 13%. And here you go, folks. Look at this. Look at this. This is based on a 66% turnout and a 60% turnout. Based on a larger turnout, the ANC is in a lot of trouble. The DA at about 25%. The ANC at just 37%. The EFF at 10, maybe 11%. But MK at 13% and the IFP up to about 5%. That is how the numbers stand now. And that is in line with what I predicted minus Mkhonto or minus MK. There was no MK party when I made my prediction on November 20, whatever day that was, 2 November, 3 November 2021. Yep. So all the international media suddenly covering South Africa's elections. This story from Radio France International, or as they say in France, Radio France Internationale. As South Africa heads toward general elections, the country's dominant political party finds itself dogged by allegations of deep-rooted corruption. Wow. The party's name has been tarred by a string of corruption cases and the return of Jacob Zuma. Yes, the boys are back in town. And another scandal with the Speaker of Parliament, Nosizwe Mapisa Nakula. That's right. Look at that. People feel betrayed by the ANC. And they should. They should. Falsely claiming the mantle of liberation. They are not liberators. They are thieves. Yes, yes. Can MK play the role of spoiler? Even Al Jazeera running a story on this. Backed by the controversial ex-president, new political party, Mkhonto is challenging the ruling ANC in Zuma's home province and threatening its prospects nationally. My question is, why is that Chica wearing a New York Yankees hat? She's wearing a New York Yankees hat. That's just funny. We need change now, said Princess Nozivwe Zulu in her low-income government housing project in Savannah Park, 18 kilometers west of Durban. Black people cannot be slaves in their own country forever. That's why we're voting for Mkhonto to drive that change, the 51-year-old said, declaring her support for the new wildcard political party, MK. But black people aren't slaves in South Africa. You are victims of ANC Poor governance. That's right. Wow. I've been warning my comrades in the ANC that if we continue this arrogance, corruption, and lack of accountability, we'll lose popular support. Well, quit voting for parties because of their skin color. That's your problem. Vote for a party. There's plenty of other parties out there. There's Action SA, there's the Freedom Front Plus, there's the UDM, there's Inkatha Freedom Party, there's the Democratic Alliance. Lots of parties to pick from that actually have genuine people that care about South Africa, not simply people trying to rob the country blind. Well, despite the challenges, our democracy is in good health, or so says Cyril. Minir Palapala talking about the state of democracy in South Africa, as if we give a flip. President Cyril Ramaphosa says South Africa's democracy is in good shape despite challenges more than a month before the national and provincial elections. In his weekly online newsletter, he said that even as political and other forms of contestation continue before the polls, they are safeguarded under the broad umbrella of a constitutional order characterized by fundamental freedoms and human rights. Constitutional order. Then why is Jacob Zuma free? 15-month jail sentence, didn't serve it. Convicted felon. Why do you put people like Winnie Mandela, a convicted kidnapper and swindler, and leave them in parliament? Constitutional order, constitutional rule of law. What a crock of nonsense. Well, the ANC will not have a battered nose, trying to use that boxer analogy, hearkening back to the days of the former pugilist and then turned prisoner and then turned president, Nelson Rohingya Mandela. Nelson Mandela, the former pugilist. So Cyril is trying to get in that boxing room saying, we're not going to get a bloody nose. Yeah, okay, you are going to have a bloody nose and you will be very sorry. So ANC President Cyril Ramaphosa took his elections campaign trail to Orange Farm in Gauteng. He said the tanking of the rand amid political uncertainty and the high unemployment rate were concerning the ANC and government. The ANC is not going to get a battered nose. I think battered noses will belong to many others who are trying to compete with the ANC. You will see. Wait and see. Well, wait and see. We shall see on May 29th, Cyril. Let's see how much crap you're full of. I mean, your eyes are brown. The real thing. So, moving on with another story. A lucrative love affair. ANC sycophantic voters and their party. Ramaphosa is banking on the feelings to sustain ANC hegemony. Ramaphosa says ANC has a great hegemony and the ANC will never be weakened in a way where it loses majority of our people. These boots were made for walking, Cyril. We're going to walk right over you. Nancy Sinatra had that song, These Boots Were Made for Walking. You are delusional. Brother, you don't have a clue. Or you're just simply lying to people. But then that, of course, is what Cyril Ramaphosa is most famous for, lying to people. He loves to lie to people. That's what he does all the time. I will bring foreign direct investment to South Africa. We have a renaissance in the economy. Really? Ladies and gentlemen, the outflow of capital from South Africa since Cyril Ramaphosa has become president has been epic. It's been a huge negative. $17 billion of foreign direct investment announced. Yeah, meanwhile, $60 billion's gone out the window as people take their assets out and the Johannesburg Stock Exchange almost isn't liquid because of what's going on. This is insane. Who in their right mind would put money in South Africa where you have to pay for your own security force? You must build your own infrastructure, roads, electric lines, sewage, provide your own water. Because the government can't pull it off because they're too busy stealing or hiring incompetent patronage hires to be in charge of those projects. You have to train a workforce beset by tuberculosis, HIV. South Africa with 7.8 million HIV positive residents. The largest number in the world. Many of whom fall ill. Their CD4 counts drop below 200. They're not capable of working. And then others die. And people have to go to the funerals. And a funeral in Southern Africa is not a one-day affair. It's a week-long affair. Productivity plunges as a consequence of this. Type 2 diabetes. Your workforce is unhealthy. It costs you a fortune if you provide health care. Or like Anglo-American had to do, they had to pay health care. They had to pay for antiretrovirals. Otherwise, they would have lost all their miners. Or most of them. Health. Low productivity, and a racist administration that demands that you hand over your equity. If you don't believe me, ask Elon Musk. Elon Musk meant to bring Starlink to South Africa, but ICASA, the body governing that, Communications for South Africa, demanded that he give away 30% of his equity to somebody based on their skin color, not on their sweat equity, not on their capital investment, not on their business acumen, and not on being any worthwhile partner, simply because they had the right skin color. That, ladies and gentlemen, is racism. Racism. And that is what the ANC is. Their excuse is that evens things out. It doesn't even anything out. Let me tell you how you do this. You want Starlink to help poor black South Africans? This is what you do. You talk to the company about whether they have a retirement fund or they have a compensation fund. And Starlink can come into the country and it can provide shares to employees, or it can provide a profit sharing scheme so that people who work efficiently and effectively and productively get a payback for that. Or they get a piece of the company. But that is not how criminals and communists work. They simply like to use race to steal. Why would anybody come in a country like that where you have to give away your equity? That's already a 30% loss. And then you have a shareholder who can buy more shares and put you out of business and take over your company that you founded, that you took the risk for when no one else had the vision. It was Elon Musk who had the vision for Starlink. He said, we can put a bunch of little satellites up there and provide broadband access. Others had the idea. I had the idea, but I didn't have billions of dollars. But he did. He had the connections, the wherewithal, and the technical know-how. And he made it happen. And it works. But not in South Africa. But you can get it in Lesotho and Mozambique, but not in South Africa. Why? Because the race-hustling, corrupt, kleptocratic party, the ANC, prevents it from coming in. And they don't care how many rural South Africans are denied broadband access and kept in the dark ages because Vodacom and MTN can't get them a good signal out in the middle of the Highveld or somewhere near Zwartrugens in the middle of nowhere or somewhere, out there in the Northern Cape. They don't give a flying flip because the African National Congress does not exist for South Africans. It does not exist for black South Africans. They don't like black South Africans. You're just useful tools. Useful tools, and in some cases, useful idiots. The ANC cares about one thing, the African National Congress, and its power into perpetuity. That is all they care about. By extension, they care about 500,000 cadres, or cadres, as the rest of us say around the world, the people who line up with them, their patronage network of handing out board seats, directorships, jobs to people who are unqualified simply because they're loyal and they have the right skin color. Do they get those positions? This is a rotten carcass of what promised to be the Rainbow Nation. The Rainbow Nazi is not. It is a disaster. It is a dumpster fire of the highest proportions where women are gang raped and murdered in the most cruel fashion, where children are kidnapped and dismembered for muti because they happen to be albino, where criminals run and control the streets. Gangsters murder people with AK-47s in broad daylight in Port Elizabeth as part of a taxi war. Buses are attacked and people murdered as part of a transport war in Cape Town. This is South Africa. That TV show, This Is Us. This is us in South Africa. This is the world you live in. And it's the ANC's fault. And this delusional, creepy criminal right there. Nothing must harm South Africa's elections, says Cyril Ramaphosa. Ooh. Business Day reports the president says the vibrant and robust campaign is a reflection of how South African politics continue to evolve and mature. Yes, it's up to all of us, whether it's government, political parties, candidates, voters, the media, civil society, to play our part in ensuring our actions and words inspire faith in our democracy. We must continue to work together to ensure that nothing undermines the integrity of our elections. I agree, Cyril. And you know what? I do have faith in South Africa's elections. If you vote the bums out, remove them. I excoriated people for not voting in 2021. And I'll do the same thing here. You must go to the polls. You must vote for anybody that is not ANC, EFF, or Umkhonto we Sizwe. And by the same token, you must go and vote in the United States, if you're a legal voter, to remove the boil sitting on the bum of America. And that is Joseph Robinette Biden, the kleptocratic criminal in chief, the man, the big guy in Burisma, Ukraine, and with the China dealings. Yes, rainbows fade, and rather quickly, don't they? Well, the ANC government is being blamed by opposition parties for turning criminals out on the street. The ANC government will do whatever it takes to protect their own, even to the detriment and safety of the rest of the South African population. Of course, that's how they protected Jacob Zuma. The sentiment was expressed by the DA's spokesperson for Correctional Services, Jano Engelbrecht, as he voiced concern at a growing number of prisoners released under President Ramaphosa's special remission program, letting criminals out. In August of last year, they let out 15,000. Unbelievable, just to get Jacob Zuma out of prison. Wow. Well, the ABC party, you may not know who they are, is divorcing the African National Congress. And the African National Congress, for its part, is divorcing the ANC in a swap. But this will hurt the ANC in eThekwini, also known as Durban, or Dirtban, affectionately by residents who live in this failed city. Yep. So the Abantu Botha Congress is preparing to dump the ANC-led coalition in eThekwini. And the ANC will do them a favor. They're expected to sign an Inkatha Freedom Party initiated motion of no confidence in the coalition partner in Mvoti. ABC leads Mvoti through its coalition agreement with the ANC, but not for long. They're going to lose power there. The rocky patch of the two parties' relationship follows a falling out between the president of ABC, Philani Mavundla, and the ANC's provincial top boss. There you go. So the ABC party in KZN will abandon the ANC. Well, there you go. Ladies and gentlemen, taxpayers apparently have coughed up 24 million rand for the adventures. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego and Becket, Chile? The garden boy in chief apparently has been flying around and jetting around in helicopters to the tune of 24 million rand for the taxpayer. This story in the Independent Online. Of course, it wouldn't be in the Daily Maverick because they're shut down today. Wow. Taxpayers have coughed up about 24 million rand to fly Police Minister Becket, Chile, the garden boy, his deputy, and police top brass in SAP's aircraft over the past 3 years. Now, there's been nothing he had to respond to short of the insurrection in 2021, where he was nowhere to be found. It's the only time in 2021 that he actually needed a helicopter. He actually needed to be somewhere. He sure did need a helicopter to fly to Senegal when he did that back in 2020 to intrude and interfere with the pursuit of justice in that case. He and, of course, Julius Malema, a member of parliament, who has no responsibilities for justice, no responsibilities for what was happening there, shows up to intimidate the court. Yep, that's what they did. Yep. He's accused of abusing state resources, and some call for him to be billed for chartering of the flights. He maintained he was doing crime prevention. Crime prevention. What crime does Becket, Chile prevent? None. None. Well, Cyril Ramaphosa, once again, trying to deflect attention away from the ANC's failed policies and its corruption in South Africa, trying to tell people, we warned you this is what was going to happen in the Middle East. Yes, because you support Hamas, a terror organization so designated by the European Union, by the United States, and by a host of other countries. And you openly support them. You openly congratulate them. You have telephone conferences calls with them. And you meet them in person. And you support and you congratulate them on their terror and their invasion of Israel on October 7th, 2023. That's what you did. Iran attacked Israel. And now, basically, Cyril Ramaphosa is blaming Israel. But Israel was attacked by Hamas. They didn't start that war. This is not the Israeli war. It's a Hamas war. President Ramaphosa says South Africa has consistently called for an immediate ceasefire in the ongoing conflict in the Middle East. That's a lie. It's a lie. The ANC did not call for a ceasefire when Hamas terrorists crossed the border and gang raped, butchered, executed 1,200 Christians, Muslims, Jews, and Buddhists. You didn't call for a ceasefire. Israel didn't attack into Gaza until weeks later. Only after your fellow traveler terrorists in chief who run Gaza were under pressure did you call for a ceasefire. Yep. Well, John Steenhuisen of the Democratic Alliance says that he's not in a secret alliance with the ANC. Steenhuisen responded to Action SA, one of their charter partners, communicating to members last week that will launch an internal objection within the charter after parties expressed their willingness to consider forming a government with the ANC. Who expressed that willingness? And this is something that Ramon Kabanak has been warning about for a long time. I was a bit skeptical, but I warned of the possibility of it. But is this what's happening? Is the DA moving towards the ANC? That would be a disaster for South Africa. And I covered that in my previous video. Is that link here? Is Hendo here? Can somebody share that link when I analyze the potential coalitions for South Africa? That would be interesting to see. We're the best, says Jacob Zuma as he turns toward race to talk to voters. JayZ, who's not been a race hustler in the past, is suddenly a race hustler. He believes South Africa is yet to attain freedom. Well, why don't you have freedom? You run the government. Former President Zuma said South Africa is yet to attain freedom. We've not yet attained freedom. We only attain freedom when the land is in our possession and when we change the economic outlook for our country. Really? Who is our? Who is our? Is that not a racist statement? Is he implying that Zulu? Is that who he's talking about? Us? Is the we Zulu? Is the we black? What's going on here? Wow. Could you imagine if a white politician gets up, said that we will not be at peace until we recover the land taken by the government during the expropriation program and give it back to its rightful owners? Wow. Okay, so JayZ turns to race. Well, Dr. Peter Groenewald, a frequent guest on the program and a friend of mine, the leader of the Freedom Front Plus, said he warned Ramaphosa about the water shortages. And Ramaphosa, of course, like he always does, ignored him and everyone else. I warned Ramaphosa about the water crisis, says Freedom Front Plus leader. Freedom Front Plus leader Peter Groenewald has accused President Ramaphosa of lying when he said that 95% of South African households have water. They don't, ladies and gentlemen. They don't. They do not. The actual correct statement is that under the ANC, 95% of South Africans have access to clean pipe water, but they don't have water. That includes communal taps in rural communities and also in townships that don't have water piped into their homes, but have a communal tap, which means you have access to clean water. You may have to walk a couple hundred meters or further. You don't have water, but you have access to it. And the ANC is lying. They're making people believe by implying that people have homes and 95% of South Africans have water there. Simply untrue. And on top of that, there is no water now. All the failures of the ANC. Well, Michael Beaumont, bum-hurt ANC member and now member of Action SA, Secretary General, if I'm not mistaken, I've met Michael Beaumont. Seems like a nice guy. He says South Africa cannot coexist in mutual prosperity with ANC and government. Well, I don't disagree with that. As the saying goes, if you sup with the devil, you'd better have a long spoon. But put differently, any political party that takes votes from South Africans in these elections and then uses those to keep the ANC power is going to be effectively dissolving itself. Yep. The ANC appears to have its pick of potential suitors. It's unfathomable how in a country where the failures of unemployment, crime, load shedding, and corruption are so easily linked to the ANC, opposition parties are lining up to keep the ANC power. It's the same political parties who put up posters saying rescue South Africa, who now wish to turn around and suggest that this can be achieved in working relationships with those from whom South Africans allegedly need rescuing. Well, this is a reference to the Democratic Alliance and whether it's going to team up with the ANC. Voters need to take action in a real crossroads election. So says John Steenhuisen, the leader of the Democratic Alliance in the Free State. Here's John Steenhuisen. Well, for some reason, they put the same picture there twice. It's heartbreaking that the Free State could lay claim to being the worst run region in the whole of South Africa. Actually, I think Northwest wins that title. John Steenhuisen, leader of the DA, said during the launch of the DA's manifest in Tabamchu on Friday and put forward that a new government to rescue the Free State was within reach as the ANC support crashed to just 50% in the province. The election May 29th will be a real crossroads election, he told people. If people in the Free State wait another 5 years before they vote the ANC out, there will be nothing left. And there, in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, is why I'm running for the Pennsylvania State Legislature. Because if I wait 2 more years, if we allow the criminal cabal in Washington, D.C. to continue its nonsense, if the state legislature doesn't push back with its sovereign rights against a corrupt and out-of-control federal government, we may not have a country in 2 years. Never mind 5 years. It's absolutely crazy. Crazy. And there's the stories I'm talking about on this one, folks. So how are we all doing out there? Am I still live? There we are. I'm still live. 108 people here currently. That says 115. This is 108. What's the real figure? 86 likes. That's it. Oh, come on, man. Hit the like button. Come on, hit the like button. Let me get back to the chat and say hello to everybody again.
That was easy.
Oh, yeah. All right, so back here. Let's go back. Looks like some chat going on over here in the conversation. What are you guys talking about? So, Please do further research regarding the 6 months maintenance shutdown. It's not actually that bad. Sure, John, I will. I'm reporting what the press reported, and obviously based on my schedule, I didn't have time to look into it, but I will look into it. Thank you for that note. In fact, I'll make a note of that right here in my South African article. Whoops, what's that? Oh, something fell on the floor in my studio here. Right, so 6 months, water. Well, maybe they misspoke and it starts in 6 months. But yeah, whatever the case is, had the ANC actually continued the Highlands water project and delivered the other 2 pipelines that were supposed to bring water from the Highlands, then South Africa wouldn't be facing this problem. Because then it'd be like the military. Red, amber, green. 1 down for maintenance, 1 in refit and get ready, and 1 delivering service all the time. You'd be set, you'd be set, you'd be set. Thank you for that, John. I caught that. All right. Sedgefield's here. I can't vote the pastor's thieving psycho sister. No idea what you're talking about there. I think we all know how bad the ANC is. Perhaps you would like to do some depth analysis regarding all possible coalitions. Well, John, I've done that. Oh, come on. Seriously, man? Seriously? See, this is what's frustrating. People come up with these comments, and I'm not picking on John, but do you even know what I've done? I mean, I did that. When did I do that? That was, there you go. March 13th, the day I did my own debate. I published a video. South Africa's 2024 election, coalition scenarios. How do people not know that? Is it blocked on YouTube? Does YouTube not show you my content? I mean, this is crazy. So I got a commercial I got to play here first. Only 2,400 views. I went through these coalitions. So let's do that right now. Let's do that right now with 100 people left for this conversation. It's only a 6-minute video. So let's just do it right now, okay? Let me jump ahead here. All right, here we go. We're going to bring that screen up. All right, and I'll put myself and superimpose it. So there's a screen there. Well, that's not the right one. That ain't right. What's going on there? What happened to... What's going on here? There we go. Huh, okay. Something happened. Okay, now we got it. There we go. So, yeah. Let's go ahead and start this, and I'm going to talk about it, but I need to bring myself up on the camera here. Where is the camera at? There we go. All right, so here we go. This is what I did. Hello once again, folks. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. South Africa faces epic elections on May 29th, 2024. The most significant elections since 1994 and the advent of the modern democracy. And what an election is. Let's talk about that election. This is the current composition of the South African Parliament. The African National Congress has a 29-seat majority. You need 201 out of 400 seats to rule outright. However, according to the Brent Hurst survey that just came out, recorded through late February of 2024, the African National Congress is in a lot of electoral trouble as voters abandoned it for Jacob Zuma's barely existing MK party, the Umkhonto-we-Sizwe party. Now, MK has done well in recent by-elections with 21% and 28% in 2 successive KZN KwaZulu-Natal elections, followed up with a... So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit here because you didn't come here just for that, but I've talked about these coalitions. So this is what Parliament will look like based on the Brent Hurst survey. Here's likely to be so for the moment. This will be the composition of the next parliament, the first since 1994 without a majority party. Only 4 parties secure more than 10 seats: the African National Congress, the Democratic Alliance, the MK Party, and the Economic Freedom Fighters. Now, this is not a good outcome for South Africans, folks. True, knocking the ANC off its arrogant perch is healthy for the recently democratic South Africa. However, a wounded beast is most dangerous when cornered. Already wildly reviled for its kleptocratic ways, its race hustling, its inept management of government, self-enrichment of favored cadres or cadre, the ANC will now have to swallow its massive ego and pride if it wants to govern. And that means the Africa scenario. Here, the African National Congress teams up with MK. Now, this alliance would give 52% of the vote for a slim majority with 206 seats in the parliament, if the polls are correct. Now, Zuma professes they hate the ANC, but the MK and Zuma crave power more than their hatred for the place of their birth, the African National Congress. This is a possibility, and it shouldn't shock anyone. MK is a child of the ANC, much like COPE, much like EFF, and arguably even the Patriotic Alliance. Now, next we have the scenario, the Zimbabwe for South Africa scenario. In this scenario, a desperate democratic. So these are the scenarios. These are potential coalitions. I've covered this. I'm the only analyst that's done this. The only one. And my reward is people haven't watched it. Frustrating to say the least. Alliance would make the argument that it is better to form a government for South Africans and will promise to keep the lid on ANC excesses. However, like ZANU-PF in Zimbabwe, the ANC will retain all genuine levers and portfolios of power, leaving the Democratic Alliance to clean up its macroeconomic mess, just like the MDC did in Zimbabwe after 2008. It may be a coalition convenience and a short-lived one at that. Should the DA enter into this coalition, it will shed voters en masse at the following election in an ANC-MK-EFF coalition, whereupon the scenario is followed by the Armageddon scenario, where this is the Armageddon scenario that I came up with. ANC-MK-EFF, a 62% coalition. That's a real possibility right there, based on the polling. Look at that. 248 seats they would have. And that's really just the ANC, just different versions of the ANC. But I call that the Armageddon. That's disaster for South Africa. The ANC and its evil spawn team up in an ANC-MK-EFF coalition, whereupon they rapidly pillage South Africa to its demise, leading to its formal collapse and possibly even civil conflict as the Zulu Nation and the Western Cape attempt secession. Finally, we have a distasteful but potentially pragmatic grand coalition where adults somehow inexplicably. So this is an AMC multi-party charter coalition, which would be 72% based on current figures. Would give them 288 seats, but that would be ANC, DA, IFP, Free to Front Plus. Unlikely, but a possibility. And this would be the grand coalition. They rise within the ANC and push out the corrupt fossils, then form a coalition with a multi-party charter. This is the best outcome of the coming election and probably the least likely one. Only other scenario is an unthinkable coalition between the MPC, MK, and EFF that puts them at 52% in parliament. Such a joining is unlikely to last long and is unpalatable for the EFF. So there you go, folks. I've covered this. I've done that. I did that a month ago. And my reward is nobody's watching it. So there you go, John. I've discussed this. I've covered it. I don't just complain about the ANC. I offer solutions. I offer alternatives. I offer analysis of everything. Everything. Just people don't care, man. They don't watch it. They don't watch it. Kurtz Verhoeven's here. Welcome to you. Starlink is so expensive. It would be out of my price. No, Starlink is not expensive. It's not expensive. No, the rates they're charging in Africa are not that much. Here, they're expensive. UK, they're expensive. What they're charging in Africa, not expensive. But it's all a matter of perspective, how much money you have. Yep. I mean, I was just going through my bills. Do you guys, let me just tell you, because, this has cost me a great deal personally. I'll pull this up and find it. Hang on a second here, because I did my taxes. I was up at 4 o'clock yesterday to do my taxes. I spent just, let me see. Where's it at here? Where's the fuel one at? Just on petrol last year. And this isn't complete because this is just from the main credit cards I pulled up. This is the incomplete list. This is traveling to all the places I went last year. Let me do the math real quick here for you South Africans. This includes some of the stuff in France, but not even all that. So times 19. I spent 24,000 Rand on petrol for rental cars. Probably more than that. 24,000 Rand and petrol alone. Yeah, so. Oh, John, you did see my video. Okay, but you got deleted. Okay, well, did you forget about it? John's a good egg, but we're having a little fun with him there. You don't want to know what I spent on lodging. And this isn't complete because I haven't even counted for all the nights. And then rental cars. So rental cars. Oof. All right. So this is what I do. And my income doesn't cover it for this stuff. This is out of my pocket because it's that important. Hang on a second. I spent 71,000 Rand on rental cars. I spent 100,000 Rand on rental cars and gasoline. So when I tell people these trips are only possible because of generosity of viewers who offer me free accommodation on occasion, it's a true statement. It's a true statement. It is a true statement. Look, I don't get fame. I don't get fortune. I'm just trying to wake people up and share with them. If people like me because of that, that's great. If they dislike me, that's their problem. If it gets me attention, that's fine. I don't need attention. But all of this after the damage that YouTube did to my business, my reputation. But by the way, that doesn't talk about lodging costs. That doesn't talk about the flights. The flights are the biggest one. That's my biggest single expense. But I do my business expenses, and we're talking about a lot of my personal money that I poured into it. So you can imagine all the money I get from this YouTube, which isn't a whole lot, all of that gets poured back in there too, but it barely reduces it. So I do that for y'all. Now, do I get something? Of course I get something. I get to travel the world to meet people who matter, to listen to their concerns, to have conversations with them. Elmai 5 Pence in Uppington, Eric in Amasymtoti, Monray Seibritz in Cape Town, Dylan Cobrick in Cape Town. And the list goes on and on and on. I'm going to neglect people, so I'm just going to stop there. And Keith Alderson, Hendo, Fiona, Fleshin, all in the UK. I get to meet people. Sedgefield said that's not bad. Sedgefield, that's not even the full amount. That's the amount I claimed. It's a lot more than that. And that's just those two items. You put the whole thing together. I mean, Sedgefield says 100,000, not bad. That's a lot more than the average salary of all South Africans. So anyway, I'm not complaining. Just telling you. Just telling you. And Christine says we're grateful. Well, thank you, Christine. You're very welcome. It's my pleasure. But you know, it's funny. I got attacked by fraudsters and scumbags and who don't go to South Africa when they live abroad. And they make claim to speak for South Africans and help South Africans. I've actually done it. I've actually been there. Help raise money for folks. I've actually been there on the ground and helped the political party get a seat that it was cheated out of by the IEC. I've brought the plight of farmers to the world's attention. I've brought the plight of black, white, and brown South Africans to the world's attention. So, you know. Leah Menar's here. Welcome, Leah. Good to see you there. Good to see you. No, you're fine, Erica. It's my pleasure. And, you know, I think people know my dedication. Even while I was working at the War College, I still made a concerted effort, even though I do it on my mobile, to bring you content, news, analysis every day. And now that we're approaching the finish line for my race, which I still have to devote a lot of time to between now and the 23rd, I'll probably do some updates on the road. Look forward to the election day, the 23rd, folks, because what I'll be doing is I'll let you know, hey, I'm here. I went live at the polling station. I'm standing in line. I'm going to vote. When I'm done voting, I'm moving on to the next station. I'll probably, the spotty coverage in some of the places, so I can't do it all the time, but I'm going to let you know what's going on election day. You get to follow me right here on Chris Wyatt Reports because I use this channel to cover my election day from my mobile. So I got my battery backup. And I'm going to go and run all day long. I start at about 6 o'clock in the morning and I'll finish at about 8 o'clock after the final poll closes. So if you want to check that out, if you want to see what it's like for a candidate who's rushing from place to place, I'll tell you where I'm at and you'll have an idea. If you want to go look on a map, pull up Google Maps, you can look up the place I'm at. You can follow my journey if you want. If you want. Neil DeBeer, Adrian Larger, I think you're new to the channel. What do you mean? What's your question? Neil DeBeer is someone whom I've covered extensively on this channel. I also was the only journalist to cover his party's launch of their campaign last year in February when I was at Tygerberg. Went there and covered it, broadcast live from the party launch. Neil DeBeer is very popular with a certain segment of the population. No, I'm not talking about white people, some white people, but I'm talking about a lot of colors love Neil DeBeer in the Western Cape. He's very popular with them. Neil DeBeer is reviled by people on the right and on the left, considered a traitor by many, but he's addressed that. I'm not telling you to vote for Neil DeBeer or the UIM. I'm not telling you not to vote for them. What I am saying is that he's popular with a segment of the population, and I cover him. When I want to cover him, I get access. I've never been refused an interview by the UIM. I've never had difficulty scheduling an interview with Neil DeBeer or with Fatima Abdul, who's also with the party. So, I mean, I'm not sure what you want me to say about them or what question you have, Adrian. Please be more specific. But again, for those who don't know, if you're new to the channel, I had the most extensive coverage of South Africa's 2021 municipal elections. I covered it for over 3 months before the election took place. I interviewed candidates from 8 separate parties and the leaders of 6 of those parties. The leader of the Inkatha Freedom Party, Hlabisa Velenkosi, interviewed him. Peter Gernewald, Freedom Front Plus, Neil DeBeer from UIM. And the list goes on and on. Yep. I did that. Now, I haven't had that extensive coverage this time because I'm running for office myself. For those who don't know, I'm running for office here in Pennsylvania because I can't sit by and watch this country fall apart. And here it is. So this is, oh, that's my palm card. There you go. That's not what I wanted to show you. Where's it at? Where's it at? It's not here. I can't find it. I must have deleted it. So anyway, don't worry, folks. Just stay calm and prat Afrikaans. Or Deutsch. Or Französisch, French. Anyway, so yeah, here it is. This is the one I was looking for. There you go. There you go. Running for the 92nd district here in Pennsylvania. Anyway, so yeah. Ulrich says, we love and appreciate our Colonel. You're very welcome, Ulrich. It is my pleasure. Again, all that stuff I do, the money I spend, I do get things out of it. I've got some very generous gifts from people, very lovely things. I mean, look at this. Look at this bad boy. This thing here got me a sympathy vote on a plane from OR Tambo back to Cape Town. It wasn't even my intent. This, of course, is a gift from Garrett. And that is, of course, an actual horn. Yep. So this is pretty cool walking stick. I was actually in a lot of pain that day and leaning on the, and they let me go first as an invalid. We've also got other gifts here. Some of them I've taken down now, but I put them up periodically. People are very generous with their time and with their gifts, and thank you so much for that. And those who provide accommodation for me, thank you so much. It's kind of weird staying at somebody's place, but people have been wonderful, and it's been a great experience. I've really enjoyed it, and it makes it possible. I mean, all the money I have to spend on the rentals, I mean, there's no way around that unless I had like a company sponsor me, which that isn't the case. But all of the rental cars, the petrol, the cost of getting into places. Hey, Julie, welcome to you. All of it adds up. It really does add up. And it's great that people support me with lodging because that's the single biggest expense on a daily basis. I mean, I have to budget to spend at least $100 a day in South Africa for lodging. Now you're like, $100 a day? That's 2,000 Rand. Well, sometimes it's 1,200, sometimes it's 1,000, sometimes it's over 2,000. Just depends where you stay. So on balance, I figure $100 a day. If I come in less than that, that's great. When I stayed up in Eiserfontein, that place only cost me like $34 a night. So that was a good deal. It was a nice room. So $100 a night. So if I stay for 30 nights, we're talking $3,000 for lodging alone. Every night somebody provides accommodations, that cuts that cost. But I have to rent the cars, and the cars are going to cost me on average about $200 a week. So we're talking another $800 to $1,000 for that month. And so we're already talking $4,000 there. Then the petrol is going to run me about $300 for a trip like that. So there you go. That takes me over, getting closer to 5,000, and that's before we even do anything else. So then the flights have gone up. My first flight back to South Africa after this COVID scam was $800. The next one was $1,200. The last was $1,800. I'm terrified of what the next one's going to cost. Yep, they are expensive. A banana in South Africa is 4 Rand. That's just crazy, Garrett. 4 Rand for a banana. It should be 40 cents. Yep. Leah's in the hospital. Oh, my goodness. Sorry to hear that. Sedgefield says, next trip. What about the next trip, Sedgefield? What's your question? Or is it a statement? My plan was to come in May, but I haven't got my passport back yet, so that's a problem. My passport expires this year, and I had to send it in, so I'm still waiting for it to come back. If I don't get it soon, then I'm going to have a problem. I won't be able to make the trip, so hopefully it'll get done. Just wait and see. Wait and see. For those who didn't tune in earlier, at the when the Rand hits $30 to the dollar, yeah, it's going to hit $30 to the dollar. Earlier, I worked last week, and one of the students in the course that I helped run, I was the facilitator, was the chief of Finland's army, and he gave me a Finland commander's coin from the Finnish army. Wow, a neutral country, and I have the coin from it. That is so cool. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would get a commander's coin from Finland. Julius Caesar, what's this? Eating all the bananas plantation. I have another campaign event tonight, so I have to prep for that once I go off air, and I've got a lot more stuff to do. You don't need, what? A passport, just a couple $100 Rand. Well, I have to have a passport to get on a plane in Harrisburg. I can't get through the plane without a passport. When I get on the plane, either in Harrisburg, take me to Philadelphia, or taking me to, where else did I go for those things? Atlanta or Newark, depends on which airline I'm flying out of, or Chicago. Then got to have a passport, get on a plane. Yeah, when you leave the country. So, and my diplomatic passport's expired. My official passport's expired now. And my tourist passport's about to expire, so I need a new tourist passport. Anyway. The red carpet. Okay. Cool. What's this? They'll accept Kentucky. Accept what Kentucky? My driver's license? All right, we're over 100 likes finally. That took some time. Thank you all for that. By the way, folks, if you didn't see this last week, or not last week, 2 weeks ago, I did get this. This is the Cold War medal for winning the Cold War against the Soviet Union. And it is an authorized medal for those who participated in the conflict, which at times was hot. People don't think it was actually war, but at times it was. And on the back, it says that this is awarded for recognition of your service. And it gives the dates from 1945 until 1991. So anybody that served in the armed forces in that period is eligible for the Cold War medal, which I have now. So can't wear it on my uniform. It's not authorized for wear on a military uniform. However, I can wear it on civilian apparel. So that's the medal. And there's a ribbon here somewhere. Where did I put that bad boy at? There it is. There's the ribbon. It's keeping it inside the Ziploc bag so it doesn't... There it is. There's the ribbon. Anyway, keep it inside the bag so it doesn't get damaged by the dust floating around. So, all right. Wow, we've had a big drop off there from 100 plus down to 80, but hey, it's cool to see it. I had a good audience here, folks. We've been at 80 for about an hour here, almost an hour, so that's pretty cool. 80 or above, hit 100 and something there. What was the peak on this audience? We hit 132. Just claim to be a sovereign citizen. There's no such thing as sovereign citizen. That's just nonsense. That's just nonsense spewed by a bunch of wackadoodles out there. Speak of the devil, there's fleshing right there. So the Bulls got slaughtered. Absolutely got slaughtered in the Champions Cup, but they went further than the Stormers, so they're out of it now. However, the Sharks are into the semifinal in the Challenge Cup. Well done. First South African side to go through to that semifinal in the Challenge Cup. Well done to the Sharks. Suddenly the Sharks are like playing like gangbusters. What was their problem all along? Has he turned it around? Have they turned it around? It's crazy. The Sharks are suddenly looking good after such an atrocious United Rugby Championship season, and it looked really bad, and now suddenly they turn around. Really like TikTok video shared regarding his epic statement was a guy's open carry card because in Texas, that's how we roll. Yeah, no, I mean, that guy's fantastic. I say the same things, but I'm not black, and so it doesn't resonate the way it does. I'm also not an Apache pilot, but, it's exactly right. And we were at a point in this country before Barack Hussein Obama, the treasonous bastard that he was, before Barack Hussein Obama undermined social cohesion in this country with his race hustling nonsense and lied about America, we were at a stage in which we were becoming a post-racial society in which the vast majority of people did not care about what race someone was. It's an artificial construction created by sociologists. And Barack Hussein Obama with his constant race hustling, and I could have been Trayvon Martin and his little, beer party with Henry Louis Gates, who was a rude, racist, arrogant asshat talking to a New Jersey state police trooper and disrespectful. And then, of course, the trooper has to come together and kowtow to Henry Louis Gates, who has been trying to recover his reputation ever since. But his behavior was a sense of entitlement, not racism. Henry Louis Gates thinks he's entitled to respect and special privileges because of whom he is a successful man. Whether it's because he's black or not, I don't know. But one thing's for certain, his conduct was unbecoming, and that just divided race even more. And now, of course, we saw the person who had the biggest impact on race relations in a negative fashion before Barack Obama, and that was, of course, Orenthal James Simpson. O.J. Simpson, who's just passed away at the age of 76 from cancer, was one of the biggest race dividers in the country. And it wasn't intentional. It wasn't O.J. O.J. didn't divide people in race. O.J. brought people together. White folks loved O.J. Black folks loved O.J. But the O.J. Simpson trial and the murder of Nicole Simpson Brown, as well as Nicole Brown Simpson, whatever, and Ron Goldman, that and the glove don't fit, you must acquit Johnny Cochran, that divided this country along racial lines. Black people celebrating a murderer being released because he's black and the system is unfair. What a crock. What a crock. Sue, the cough cleared up a long time ago. I actually had a little bit of a cough back the past couple of days. Why is it okay for Israel to bomb Iran's consulate, but not okay for Iran to retaliate? Well, Iran attacked Israel. Israel did not attack Iran. We bombed the Serbian consulate and hit the Chinese. We bombed Serbia and we hit the Chinese embassy instead. China didn't bomb America because of that. NATO bombed the Chinese embassy in Belgrade. Remember that during the campaign there, the air campaign against Yugoslavia, or against Serbia, I should say. We hit their embassy. People died. They didn't bomb us. That's an odd question to ask, Menage a Trois. Actually, the mullahs in Iran, the theocratic state, are a threat to their own people, to the region, and to the world. Absolutely a threat to all those folks. Somerset West. Just claim I already got that. Okay. Yep. So. Christine, South Africa has long been a haven for jihadists and for terrorists of all stripes. South Africa's advanced financial networks, which were poorly monitored by the South African government, were an ideal location to funnel terrorist funds to raise funding, and also as a safe haven for terrorists to transit, to take attention away from their travel to the Middle East and to Western democracies. They would go to South Africa to chill out. We were aware of known terrorists that were operating and living in nearby Botswana, identified them many, many years ago when I worked at the Defense Intelligence Agency. They were identified in the popular press, and people tracing their whereabouts. And so South Africa has long been a haven for terrorist financing and terrorist communication and operation. Yep. My crew got shrapnel as a medal. Well, we all got shrapnel, man. Yep. Hey, there's Dylan. Anyway, folks, there you have it. Monday, April 15th, 2024. Once again, if you're an American, today's tax day. Make sure you file those taxes. Get them done. Get them done. If you don't get your taxes done, Uncle Sugar's going to come looking for you, man. Going to come looking for you. You don't want that. You really don't want that. Trust me. Anyway, it's a pleasure. As always, folks, thank you so much for being here. If you haven't hit the like button, it doesn't cost anything. Just hit it right now. By the way, once again, I am writing an article, Friend or Foe. What else? Whose side is South Africa on? And here it is here. I have not, you see the edits. That was my first draft. I've got a lot of edits to put in there. I will hopefully get that up. Also, I did record my responses to the Ballotpedia questionnaire, the long one. I found some spelling errors in there. That was embarrassing because they gave me no time. They told me about last moment. Here, we got to get it up. And so I rushed to get it done. And I thought I spell checked it, but apparently I didn't. And I didn't read through it thoroughly. So I'm going to correct those errors. I recorded a video of that. But I don't know. I didn't really. So let me play this for you guys. You guys want to hear this? Let me play this for you. So tell me what you think of this, okay? Where's it at here? Where did I put this at? It's going to be here. Just don't run off yet. Don't run off yet. Okay, so that isn't it. Huh. Where the heck is it at? Huh. What? I want it by date. It's not there. Where the heck's it at? I saved that file. That's weird. All right, give me a second here. I'll play it this way. There's another one. I thought it would have been there. Oh, I know where it's at. I know where it's at. Hang on. Give me a second. I think I know where it's at. Okay. Come on. Boy, finding files sometimes can be a real pain. Here it is. That's not it. That's the second one. Where's the first one at? Here you go. Okay, listen to this. Tell me what you think of this. Okay, you ready for this? Ready for this? Here we go. I'm Colonel Chris Wyatt, U.S. Army retired. I served our nation and our Constitution for nearly 37 years, including combat tours of duty. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary for the 92nd District. Far too many of our elected officials in legislatures and in Congress are not very competent at leading, planning, or even being fiscally responsible. It takes moral courage to tell folks the truth when few want to hear the truth. Our politicians must be willing to be honest with the public, not pander to them for their votes. Davy Crockett went to Washington and stayed for just a few years, not for decades. How's that sound? You guys like that? I actually made a video of it. Let's play the whole thing with the video so you got something to look at too. But give me a second here. Where's it at? There should be here. That's not it. Projects, output. Okay, here we go. Oh, now it wants to search. All right, so here we go. Let's, this is a video. I'm Colonel Chris Wyatt, U.S. Army. Okay, hang on a second. Let me bring it over here. Whoa, what's going on there? There we go. All right, so I'll put this on the other screen. Here we go. You ready? Here we go. I'm Colonel Chris Wyatt, U.S. Army retired. I served our nation and our Constitution for nearly 37 years, including combat tours of duty. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary for the 92nd District. Far too many of our elected officials in legislatures and in Congress are not very competent at leading, planning, or even being fiscally responsible. It takes moral courage to tell folks the truth when few want to hear the truth. Our politicians must be willing to be honest with the public, not pander to them for their votes. Davy Crockett went to Washington and stayed for just a few years, not for decades on end. His example of a servant leader in office to represent the common interest of citizens, his state, and the nation is one to embrace. A politician should be running for or in office not for craven political power, self-aggrandizement, or self-enrichment, but rather to be a servant leader. Passion to serve in office to improve governance and the human condition should be paramount for any politician. I've sacrificed much to devote my adult life to serving others. My career is one of selfless service, dedication, integrity, honesty, and passion for defending our liberties and our nation. I entered this race not for fame or fortune, nor a comfortable, cozy job, but rather because I fear for our state and our nation and cannot sit idly by as it falls apart. Few politicians match this commitment. Please vote for Chris Wyatt on April 23rd. Thank you, and God bless. What do you guys think? You like it? Yeah, it was the debut. No one else has seen that video. Few people have heard the audio, but no one has seen the video. Thoughts, comments, questions? There's still a number of you here now. Anyway. Oh, Marilyn likes it. Cool beans. Thanks. Yeah, it resonated well with some folks in the district. They really liked what I had to say there. Sue says perfect. Well, thank you, Sue. Now I've just got to come up with the money to put it on radio. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. Woo! 30 seconds, what it costs for 30 seconds on the radio. Yep, Erica liked it. Okay, cool beans. I'm getting some hearts up there. Wow, people liking it. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Yep, and Christine says it's great. Well, cool. It's too bad you guys aren't voters in the district. Oh, everybody likes it. Wow. Somebody's going to have a sour apple. I'm waiting for that to come up here, but thank you so much. So that was the debut. You guys are the first to see the video. Like I said, some other Chris for governor. I'd love to be governor, but right now that seat's occupied and that race is not going on. So I'm also not well known. So hopefully making a name for myself here with this race. Had some good news today. Did get another. Well, Adrian says I've got your vote. Well, thank you. I did get another poll worker today who's going to work the polls for me in a district that I didn't have somebody in a big district. So that's very helpful today. That's encouraging. So really looking forward to it. Okay. Jack says no less than we expect of you. Well, yeah, no, that's what I do. I put my best foot forward all the time, and I'm going to wrap it up here, folks, because I've got to go. I need to take care of a few things. Again, I have an event tonight I got to prep for, and I've got to come up with some more plans these final days on some of the things I got going on. I do have a bit of a surprise on Election Day, which I'll tell you about on Election Day. We'll hold it until then, and you'll get to hear about it. So thank you, Ulrich, and we'll talk about that on Election Day. So we'll see what's going on. You all be safe out there. Take care of yourselves. Wherever you find yourselves around the world, whether it's Australia, New Zealand, China, Japan, a little closer to home in Europe, in the United Kingdom, the Emerald Isle of Ireland, on the mainland, in Finland, Germany, elsewhere, in South Africa, Botswana, Namibia, and of course the folks here in North America and around the world. Thank you. Oh, for criticism, muy loop. Okay, very powerful. I thought so too, Sue. I wrote that. It was me speaking, went at a much slower pace than I normally do, so that everybody would understand it. Thank you all so much. God bless. And once again, I stand for the flag and I kneel for the cross. And I hope that you do the same. I mean, if you're a different faith, that's fine, but you respect your faith and respect your flag. Good night, everybody. Good afternoon for those here in the States who are still this part of the day. And thank you all for being here. As always, it's a distinct pleasure. Take care of yourselves. And cheers to the Sharks who advance while the Bulls have angered people with their team selection. Take care, folks. Good night and goodbye.